What is good, everybody? Hope you are having a wonderful week so far. Podcast time. Alex James, not necessarily in music. This is a different podcast. However, it does very much link in with music. I'm not too sure if you've ever heard of the clothing fashion brand Pleasures. It's more than a clothing brand. It's a movement. I've been a fan of this company for a very, very long time. I was very fortunate enough to meet the team this summer. They all came to a rave. We had some chats, and I've been even more fortunate enough that the guys wanted to do a collab for my debut live tour. That t-shirt is going to be exclusively being sold at the shows, Pleasures versus Will Clarke, and it's an amazing t-shirt. But I wanted to get Alex on to talk about how he set the company up and set the brand up and kind of what it was about and the history behind it. Also the history behind doing collabs with some iconic brands, Joy Division, Shorties, the Asics, the names just can keep going on and on and on. And they've created so much hype, and the brand is not about being taken too seriously, which I absolutely love. I don't take myself too seriously. So yeah, I genuinely just love this conversation. I am going to try and get a little bit more of just outside of the music box. So if you do like podcasts that aren't just about music, more about the kind of lifestyle of art and fashion and food, please let me know in the comments, and I will get more on, or just drop me a DM. So without further ado, Alex James. Alex, we're live. How are you, man?
I'm amazing. How are you, Will?
I'm good. Thank you so much for coming on. I'm genuinely really excited to like sit down and have a chat with you. First of all, for anybody listening that doesn't know who you are and doesn't kind of know what you do, can you kind of give us a little bit of an explanation?
Sure. What's up? I'm Alex James, co-founder of the Los Angeles-based brand Pleasures. You know, at the core of myself and my brand is music, art, fashion, culture. And I'm embodying all these things and putting that energy out to the world through my brand, through clothing. And I'm just really excited to be on the podcast with you, Will.
No, I really appreciate it, man. I'm pretty sure you're very aware of how much of a fan I am of the clothing company, of the brand generally. I've been a fan for years, and bought countless amounts of your clothes and your floor mats and all your collabs that you've done with scent companies and everything like that. And yeah, I think obviously we met initially in LA during the summer, I think.
Yep. During the summer, it was at a event like downtown LA. DJ Harvey, yourself, a couple other awesome people, and I was just like blown away because I had never seen you perform live before, you know, and it was just a vibe. It was just different, and I was just like, respect, you know, support your supporters. It was really cool.
No, I appreciate it, man. So let's talk about music to start with. Like, I see in Pleasures there's a lot of musical kind of influence. Where does that come from?
You know, there's Pleasures is two people. Pleasures is myself and my business partner, Vlad. I grew up on the East Coast, grew up in New Jersey, lived in New York City for a long time. Vlad is from LA. You know, he is very much more of the raver meets mall metal meets all that type of stuff. And I'm more of the punk rock, hardcore, goth, wave, hip hop, all that, right? So we kind of meshed our personal taste together and put it forward in this brand. You know, when we started the brand, streetwear and kind of fashion was very like guns, violence, misogynistic, like not our vibe. And we're like, how can we make something cool that's a little bit of a softer tone that represents us? And, you know, that's where we're at right now.
Okay, I want to go into like some depths of about the brand because
Of course.
I don't know if you like ever like you see fashion brands and it's very like easy. It's not easy, but it's very like, oh, pleasures, oh, fear of God, Heron Preston, all of those types of things. Obviously, Heron's his name, but when coming up with a name of a brand, like, what is that process? Like, how does that look? You and Vlad get together. We want to start a brand. Is pleasures the first thing, or is there like multiple brands beforehand?
No, well, we worked for other brands beforehand, but when naming the brand, I distinctly remember we were sitting on my couch in my apartment in Hollywood. I lived in Hollywood, La Brea, right in the mix of the fucking Hollywood madness, right?
Yeah.
And I initially wanted to call it Damaged Goods based off of the Gang of Four song, right? And my Vlad says, "Man, that name sucks. I don't think we should use that." And I said, "Well, like for me, a big inspiration in life is the Unknown Pleasures album by Joy Division, right?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "What if we drop the unknown and we just call it Pleasures?" And he was just like, "Dude, that's sick. I don't know if we'll be able to use it." And we started doing some research, and like it was like available, let's say, right? So we launched at a pop-up shop at the Undefeated Space on June 6th, 2015.
That's a
This
coincidence
was
because that's my birthday.
that's your birthday? No shit. My birthday is June 10th,
Yeah.
so we're both Gemini gang.
Oh,
You know what I'm
sick.
saying? Big
Yeah,
big
we've got
Gemini,
it.
big Gemini energy, right? So so we launched that day. A bunch of interesting people came out, like ASAP Rocky, all these people, because we were in a pop-up shop with a bunch of other artists like Callie DeWitt, Devin Troy, a bunch of cool people. And, really didn't really think anything of it. Made some T-shirts.
Yeah.
And we're like, cool, this could be something. It was just like a creative outlet. Like we didn't really expect anything of it. And there was some music bootleg stuff at the time. I'm not going to say who, because we can't really do that stuff anymore. But it was impactful for sure.
Yeah. What was the first piece of clothing that like went from it being a pop-up to a full-time business for you? Like, was there a specific piece, or was it a case of like just over years compounding?
I think there was like a specific moments in time. My wife had put on a all female based art show in Arts District in downtown LA with all these amazing people, and we did a show shirt to represent this show that was called Feminine Product, and it was in collaboration with her company By Way of Us, and we did the Girl is a Gun shirt, right?
Yeah.
We wanted to have this empowering moment for say that females around the world are impactful and can make a statement and really can run the world, which they do. And that shirt kind of catapulted into all different ways around the world. I think Playboy Cardi wearing it early on in the Magnolia video was a big moment. It had nothing to do with that. He just wore it. we don't know Cardi like that, but we like his music.
Yeah.
And it was just like, whoa, this is a moment where we made a statement shirt that traveled its way around the world.
Yeah, that T-shirt. I don't know if that was the first. What year was that?
2000, end of 2016, start of 2017.
Yeah. Actually, that T-shirt might have been when I first kind of got involved on the pleasure vibe of like understanding that there was a brand out there. Okay, so you make Girl is a Gun T-shirt. Have you just released more a new batch of them?
We bring them back occasionally. We're starting to focus more on female-based silhouettes. So we have like a crop tank top. But honestly, like we don't try to put too much in circulation. We try to keep it tight. But the demand is there. So we kind of just feed it every once in a while.
Yeah. Once you've made a t-shirt like that, that becomes very viral to a certain extent. Is there like a pressure to carry that on?
Yeah, sometimes it's like, where you think like, what's next? What's the next idea? But I think you could just pivot in all these different directions that are representative of us. It doesn't have to be this powerful statement. The next t-shirt could be something funny. The next concept could be music related, art related. A lot of the t-shirts that I feel you gravitate toward have a sense of humor behind them, and that's kind of where, I like to. Me and Vlad definitely try to keep it fun and funny and light. The world is a serious place. Obviously, today in America is not the best day.
No.
And trying to stay positive for the next 4 years ahead. So
yeah, man. Yeah, I think there's a level. I don't know. You tell me, but from an outsider point of view, that's not in fashion. It feels like the fashion industry can be extremely serious in certain cases and kind of like quite take yourself too seriously. And I think, in my opinion, what you guys do at Pleasures just brings so much fun to an industry that feels a little bit pretentious sometimes.
It does. It's crazy pretentious. But the person who helped it be non-pretentious was Virgil. Virgil just, knocked down those doors and let everybody come in and was like, cool, I fuck with you guys. It's an open platform for all of us to play and travel and create and DJ and party around the world. And honestly, I don't think there'll ever be another person like him that touched so many different industries and people.
Yeah, it's a tough one, right? Because I think when you have somebody so big on multiple platforms, in a sense of fashion, architecture, art, music, it's hard to be that good at everything, right?
It is. It is hard to be. It is, but you know what? It's all about the team. You know what I'm saying? Like over the years, I've worked with the most amazing people, and they've interpreted our ideas and flipped them and remixed them and turned them into other things. And it's just people aren't anything without their team, right? And I think that's what it really comes down to. And we've had fortunate enough to bring some awesome people along the ride with us, and we wouldn't be where today without in streetwear people come and go, right? But for us, it's always like finding interesting people to work with.
What's your thoughts on the whole fashion weeks around the world?
For us, we participate in them. We don't have like a proper fashion show, right? We have like what's called like a showroom where we go, we connect with our clients, we show upcoming projects and collaborations, and people will put their orders in for the future. It is a little bit of a dinosaur model, I will say, but it's still a necessary evil because the people the retailers who are carrying your product need to see this stuff sometimes. And if we have to go to Paris twice a year, which I love, one of the best cities in the world, then let's do it. And over the years we've done some amazing parties and events and activations and just created this like community of time capsule where it's like, okay, everybody knows that these 2 weeks out of the year it's going to pop off and the rest of the world kind of comes and hangs out. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. No, I've never been to one. I really want to go. But I've always been like touring or something when it's on, so I've never had the chance.
Well, if you're around for the next one, I'll give you the dates, and you can come and see our showroom and get the full experience. So
yeah, that'd be great, man. That'd be great. Okay, running a fashion company is hard. Generally, any business is hard, but running fashion, from my experience with friends in the industry, is bloody hard. How do you turn it into a business?
I mean, you gotta put in the work, right? You
Yeah.
gotta put in the blood, sweat, and tears, and you gotta like really like, work with people who are on the same wavelength as you.
Mm.
Like you have to put the energy into the work and into the atmosphere, and over time it'll come back to you. It's not an overnight success.
Yeah.
You know, these things take time. There's some brands that are popping off now that have been around for a long time,
Yeah.
and like I think when people ask me, people DM me. I'm sure people DM you questions all the time too, right?
Of course.
And
Yeah.
people are like, yo, I want to start a brand. What do I do? How do I do it? And I say, you know what? The world doesn't need any more brands. The world needs problem solvers to fix, issues in the world, right? You can solve a problem and make a brand off of that. That's cool. But we
Yeah.
don't need any more brands in the world. And I don't want to stifle creativity. I think we just need to shift our energy toward, problem solving.
I get that, but I
Yeah.
guess what are without going too deep, like what do you see problem solving that a brand can then be turned into a brand?
Well, like say like if there's like people want to solve like a water issue around the world,
Mm.
or a food issue, right? Where it's like people need these basic needs to survive. You can create means to clothing to raise money to support these causes. I think
Mm.
somebody like a Patagonia is probably the brand that I look up to the most as far as their admiration and dedication to the world and our environment.
What do they
Or
do?
they do a bunch of their whole foundation of a brand is based on sustainability, putting back into the world what just money and power to make the planet back to what it used to be. Cutting
Mm.
down on plastics, water usage, water wastage, all that stuff. Fashion's a huge polluter, and
Yeah.
unfortunately, we have like fast fashion companies like Shein who rips our stuff off and pollutes the earth, and they're horrible people.
Yeah.
And just like people who don't have any regard for the planet we live on. There's only one planet. Some people say we're going to Mars, but we're all here right now. you know
We're definitely not going to Mars.
I don't know, dude. You could be the first DJ on Mars.
I think I'll stay here. To be fair, here's good enough. But how? I guess the thing is when somebody's starting a business. Obviously, I don't know about if it's similar in fashion, but in music, kind of start without thinking money's going to be even
Of
there.
course.
Like it's always going to be that like let's not care about the money. Let's not even. I think for years, for like 10 years at the beginning of my career, I didn't even think about money, or didn't even really earn money. But I think there comes a point. It's different as a musician because I'm the product, right? And the individual is, yes, you have to invest and you have to like and do all that. But with brands like yourself, starting a brand, you have to have product. And product costs a shit ton of money.
It does.
So how do you even like how does one even start that process? And let alone if you were to like try and build a foundation of that through that.
I think it's my suggestion. I always tell people is to start small. You don't need to go into this grandiose thing. We started this brand with 4,000 USD of my own money, right? Just to build the stock up, and it's all it's kind of like the old school economics where you create, you sell, make some money, put it back into it, and keep doing that. It's kind of like the old drug dealer mentality, right? where and I think that's the foundation of streetwear, right? It's like drug money that was funneled into clothing, and then people were like, oh, hey, this is kind of the same wave. I can do this. And, I still think a lot of brands today are kind of funneled through that way. We're not. We're fully independent like that. But you just got to start small. Start small, and you don't need to come out the gate super hot unless you want to, have your eyes to like sell your brand, like to VC type money. A lot of people create brands today with the hopes of selling to VC or, have the intention to sell. I think people see through this shit nowadays. People want authenticity. People want the realness. So I think you can see the difference.
Yeah, I think it's the same in every way of art, right? I think it's the same in music. It's the same in all of it now. There's where the investment comes in, and then you can start seeing the authenticity shine through or not. It's definitely interesting. But at what point with Pleasures was it where you and Vlad could sit down and go, "Yep, like we're actually making money now"?
I think it was after we did this. We were a part of this. It was kind of like a fashion show, honestly, called Made LA. And we partnered up with our friend Guillermo at the brand 424. Very cool LA-based brand. Guillermo is a homie and great designer. And we all had an opportunity to be a part of a concert meets fashion show concept. And it was Wiz Khalifa, Ty Dolla $ign, all these guys were going to perform, but they were going to wear a collection that we designed.
Sick.
And it was really the turning point for the brand where we're like, oh, wow, we actually got this crazy exposure. We're like working with like, at the time, relevant artists. And it was just on this grandiose scale on top of a parking lot by Staples Center downtown.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, Zane Lowe had interviewed myself and Wiz Khalifa and Guillermo, and these guys were just big up in us because Wiz was already a fan of Pleasures, and he's been following it because he lives in LA too. And it was just that moment where we're like, oh wow, now other product is selling, our hats, our T-shirts, stuff like that. So I think that the exposure and the help of social media early on, in 2017, social media was like different. Crack, right? It was popping.
Yeah. So. Is what during that time beforehand, are you still working for other brands?
I still needed to supplement some money because we weren't making money.
Of course.
I was working for a menswear brand in Orange County called Publish. We were doing lots of like different types of pants and interesting footwear and all types of stuff. And that was kind of supplementing the money I was making. And I was kind of just putting that money back into my own business. Yeah. And then after a while, we were like, okay, I think I can leave this job. Yeah. Vlad was really holding it down on the like logistics aspect too. So we're like, all right, let's do this and build this thing together. And then that's when we put our, you take the leap, right? And I think that's in any business. You have to take the leap to say, I'm going to put my best foot forward and try this. And hopefully it works.
And it worked.
And I'm sitting here today, thinking about it, and I'm just like, it's unbelievable that this brand has, people have adopted it as their own, and I like to represent the brand through the community and the people versus, me. I'm kind of behind the scenes, occasionally I'll do fun stuff like this, but I think it's cool to have representation in, all these amazing parts of the world through just people who just gravitate toward the brand.
No, I totally agree. I think what you guys have done is I get often DMs going, is Pleasures your brand? Because you literally just wear it all the time. I'm like, no, I wish it was. I really wish it was. This is genius.
Thank you.
Let's talk about our collab.
Yes. So, I think this started as an idea of, yo, let's meet, let's connect. A good friend of mine, Millhouse, who's, into the, I guess OG house, that whole scene, a little bit different for me, but he put me on and he was like, yo, this guy's really dope. Check out this Depeche Mode remix. that you did, right?
Yeah.
Enjoy the silence that just fucking hits, right? And I'm just like, wow, this is crazy. And then just like seeing you perform live, and I'm like, I want to work with artists who are like, just have like a totally different wave, representative of a different audience, different culture, different vibe. And heard you have a new album coming out with a tour, right?
Yeah.
Which we could also talk about. First of all, the art direction's cool. I like it. And I wanted to make a shirt that was representative of your new tour, your new album, but also something cheeky and funny along the lines of the stuff that you already like.
Yeah. No, it's great. Where the hell did the dog come from?
You know what? A good friend of mine and our frequent collaborator and designer, DJ Healthy, amazing DJ that lives in Bangkok. He had this. I told him we were working with you, and he pitched us. He's like, what about like a funny dog, like a DJ dog? Because Will's already wearing kind of funny shirts.
Yeah.
You know, like the Muji looking shirt with the duck on the back and all that type of stuff, right? Yeah. So we were like, how could we incorporate, you know, like the Unity dance vibe that's represented on the back, or with the juxtaposition of like something humorous on the front, and that's what we came up with.
It's great. I love it.
There's some there were some other ideas too that I thought were good, but that one was probably my number one choice as well.
Yeah, I think like the other ones were great. Like there was like one with headphones, I believe. Mm-hmm. But I think for me it was like the headphones was a bit too on the money with music, and I kind of wanted the Pleasures signature touch, what you guys always do amazingly on your clothes. Yeah, no, I'm really happy with it, man. It's fucking great. So thank you very much for that. It's dope.
And you know, if I was a touring artist too, it's like having a collaboration in your merch arsenal for a tour is just like such an added bonus that gets people amped, and it's like a new avenue and a new way to market what you're doing. You know, I pride myself that our audience is just eager to listen to new stuff. And when we promote this tour and this new album, I think it's just going to open the eyes to a lot of people. You know, I do these weekly playlists where, you know, we've been putting your music on there, you know, from time to time. So people are already semi-familiar, but I think now they're going to be like, oh shit, this is dope, you know? So this is a US tour. This is a US tour, right?
Yeah. US tour starts 22nd November through to 7th of December. It's only 6 shows, which is strange because usually when we do tours, it's like 20, 30 dates over like a few months. But this is like debut live tour. So I'm kind of like hanging up the DJ headphones and going full live, which behind me, for anybody that's watching, that's the kind of setup. So yeah, I think that's why we wanted to, like, I've done merch like over the years, and I'll be honest, I'm not really a merch fan. Like I don't like the concept of merch in itself, in its entirety. I'm way more, I want dope shit. And sadly, I'm not a fashion icon, if that makes sense. So people don't come to me to go buy my designs. They come to me to go listen to my music, right?
Yes.
And so I think there's levels of what artists, unless I went and started my own clothing brand, I kind of have to like lay back and just go, okay, here's some merch, and if I want to do something cool in fashion, let's team up with one of my favorite fashion brands, and that's you guys, and that's where you guys came in. And I think that's the thing, is like I needed to realize, dude, just stay in your lane, make some merch, because people love merch, if you know what I mean, but also work with somebody that makes cool shit, and where the cool shit makes sense to be like a unique item at these live shows. And that's where you guys came in. It's fucking great.
Yeah, I love it. And I think the overall like debut of a new show and new format, new style for you, like live, is going to be really, really sick, and we're happy to be a part of it. So I think it's cool. And there's a new album too, right?
Yeah, the album's actually out. I think by the time this podcast will come out, it'll be out, but it's out this Friday. Yeah, which is, it's interesting. It's my first album, so I think like at this moment in time we don't have a clue what's going to happen, which is like I don't know if you've been in at this point in your career where you're just like, I'm not too sure where it's going to go. It's got two options. It's either going to absolutely flop and you kind of have to go back to the drawing board, or it's going to go amazingly well. Hopefully it's the latter. But we're in that no man's land where we just don't know right now. Have you ever been there?
Yeah. Like you just have to go with your intuition, and you have to go with your gut and say, yo, this sounds dope. This feels right. And I'm going to put this out into the world. And, you know, I have lots of friends in music that they make stuff that is not necessarily my cup of tea, but I fully respect it. And they have a crazy audience just because it's different and unique. And I feel it's the same way with yours. You just dropped a single recently. And I included it on a playlist for John Claunch TV, which is a private community of artists and people around the world that exchange music every Wednesday for like the past like 7 years. And this was the 300th installment. I'll send you the link. And I put your track on there, and it just works so well with the rest of the music because there's a format. It starts off like 4 songs that you like, and then some electronic, some hip hop, some house, some jazz, some spoken word, some, you know, it's really cool. I think you'd be into it, but I think
is that a community that you started up yourself?
No, it's my friend Marwan. He's an LA dude, worked in the music industry for a while, you know, just is an all around music lover and guru. And he built up this file sharing friend circle of global people who are just into stuff. And every week is a new guest, and everybody just kind of shares, yo, this is what I'm listening to based on like a specific format. It's pretty cool.
So cool. Yeah. I love that. You don't really often hear that nowadays. It kind of reminds me of like the blog days of like people getting fully involved. But talking of communities, you have a pretty impressive community that follows Pleasures, wears Pleasures, and kind of like puts it into their life. How does one go about doing that if they were trying to build communities, and how important is that?
I mean, I think you have to make the barrier to entry pretty low, you know, like we're not pretentious. It's not this like elitist thing. It's like, yo, this is what it is. If you fuck with it, cool. If not, that's okay too. Where I think like in streetwear, there's like this like upper echelon elitist type of attitude, and in fashion too, you know, like sometimes, you know, we don't really have that. You know, we made this lighter case that says "Burn Your Ego," which I stand by. Where it's just like, you don't need the fucking ego, just drop it. It's just clothes. It's not that serious. And I think that, you know, that really is like a mantra of our brand, where we're just like, come rock with us, come hang with us. This is an open platform for all different types of people.
Have you done a t-shirt with that?
With the lighter, "Burn Your Ego"? Yeah. It's funny. I had our photographer take a photo of the lighter and put it on a shirt, but it hasn't released yet.
So you're doing one?
We are.
Sick. I can't wait for that. How does it go about doing collabs? I know you've done your most recent, from what I gather, is Asics.
Yes.
You did Shorties, Austin Lee, Joy Division. Like, talk me through these collabs.
It's a process. You know, people don't realize that, you know, some of these things are a year, 18 months, 2 years in the making. It's a lot of behind the scenes. It's a lot of negotiation. It's a lot of design back and forth. It's at the core. It's like working with somebody, let's say like Austin Lee, amazing visual artist, never worked with a clothing brand before. does he feel good about representing his work on clothing, right?
Yeah.
Does Peter Saville wanna work with a brand who essentially named their brand after one of the albums that he worked on with the band, and shouts to Peter Saville, because now we've worked with him for over 6 years. And
Oh, wow.
to me, he's the icon of modern graphic design.
Agreed.
And he's just really helped us understand where his mind is at and where he was at when he was designing some of these things for New Order, Factory, Hacienda, all these different things that he was a part of, putting his, creative touch on. So it's like, we learned from him over the years for sure. So it's really like, you have to understand the people that you want to work with and also how to make it work for them.
Yeah. How is that conversation when you like present a t-shirt with a Joy Division t-shirt on?
Well, it was cool because we sourced like a super original one that was like verified,
Oh, cool.
And it's actually framed in our office. And we're like, yo, it's Cheeky, the shirt on the shirt. And he's just like, yeah, sure, whatever. And then he's like, nah. And then like after he thought about it, I guess he was like, nah, it's cool. It's cool. It's an original. Like it's different. Like it's, we're in this ironic fashion phase, that I thought was going to go away. But obviously people like Demna and Balenciaga are kind of leading the charge of the irony. And now people like J.W. Anderson are playing along as well. And I think it's cool. I think it's like you could be funny and be ironic and still get the message across.
Yeah, I think it's it goes back to that burn your ego. It goes back to the like not taken too seriously. I think it's like it's just clothes, right?
Mm-hmm.
I went to see a singer, a guy called Ben Howard. I'm not too sure if you're aware of him. He's pretty big in the UK, or was a long time ago. He's like revisiting his second album, which is like an album that has a couple of big records, but it's not the big album.
Mm-hmm.
So it's actually really interesting. Went to go see him, and obviously like he's playing from like start to finish the whole album through with like some edits of how it gets performed. But at one point he was like, you guys probably aren't going to like this next song because I'm just going to absolutely butcher it and play a different edit. And then he like started going into this like really deep conversation. And then he was like, what the fuck am I talking about? This is just a song. Like we need to, let me just sing. And there was something so beautiful about that because I was like, you're right. It's just music. It's just clothes. It's like, does it matter?
Yeah. And like when some of the bands that I like, let's say like tomorrow, I'm going to see LCD Sound System, right?
Oh, sick.
And like me and my wife grew up seeing them in Brooklyn at like small places, above Auto Parts, the venue, random churches, like different outdoor venues, just like and I love the looseness. I love the freeness, and I'm gonna, say how I feel and just rock out in different ways. And the song might sound slightly different, and this is how I'm feeling today. And I think that's what real artistry, an artist in his artistry is about, is just being loose and free. And all the artists that we like, especially like, let's be real, like a lot of these British artists that we love, that we grew up listening to, you see them live and the vibe is different every time. Pulp recently played in LA. Yeah. And it took me back to a time and a place, and like Jarvis Cocker is just that dude, and he was just so smooth with it, and I was like, wow, this guy's the man. Like it just
I think it's like the level of zero fucks given is kind of that's the attractiveness of it, if I'm honest.
Yes. And I think that's the attractiveness of live music, when it feels like it's too like overproduced, you want to feel like you're at this intimate thing, and like this intimate experience, even though it could be like a large venue, you still feel it.
Yeah. No, I agree. When it comes to like production of your product, like how does like logistics and everything like that, how does that work? Because it's such a huge operation.
We have dedicated people that work on this stuff, right? Like my business partner is spearheading a lot of this with our production manager and our GM. We're making clothing all over the world, LA, Mexico, China, Vietnam, stuff like that, so it's like a big orchestration. Right now it's been hectic because we're trying to focus on ComplexCon, which is a huge moment for not only our brand, but I think our industry as a whole. Travis Scott is like leading the charge as like the artistic director of the show, and he has a huge interactive like moment there. I actually have an art piece in his installation in collaboration with the brand LRG.
Nice.
And it's a rendition of a famous hoodie they did back in the day that like everybody was wearing, called the Dead Serious, like the full zip skeleton hoodie. And I made my own version that was like full leather, like a gimp suit. So if somebody can have a little fun cosplay moment if they like. But it's just a funny idea, to throw out there. And I'm in there with some other cool people. So it's just cool to have my touch in different sides of it. But Pleasures has a huge moment at this show. We have a bunch of collaborations that we're dropping.
When is it?
November 16th and 17th in Las Vegas. Big deal. It used to be in Long Beach, California. Now it's in Vegas, center stage. Metro Boomin, Playboy Cardi, Travis Scott, all these people are performing.
Wow.
We're dropping countless collaborations. One of the main ones is with Clarke's. Clarke's is a iconic brand that I'm sure you know.
So I live like 15 minutes from their like design studio.
Oh, so it's kind of like Glastonbury area, right, or something?
Yep. Yeah. I live very close to that.
One day I'm going to make it out there. People always tell me you got to go to Glastonbury. It's such a experience, but I just want to go to Bristol in itself, right?
You've got to come.
I have this obsession with this place that I don't really know much about, but I know that realness and life and culture and music and art is happening there.
It's legit, man. It's generally it is a legit city. It's really hard to explain what it is. I live 40 minutes away. I grew up going to Bristol. My first shows were in Bristol. My first raves were in Bristol. Obviously, the history of Bristol as well. But I think it's like a hot pot of culture. And it's not that big. So I think it's only like 500, 600,000 people. But it's big enough to bring in multiple amounts of culture from like all around the world. But it's not too big where those cultures just live separately.
Yeah.
Which then just makes everything amazing. And it's slightly more on the left side of like, it's quite hippie. It's quite like free, be yourself, do what you want and as you wish. And I think with that comes amazing food, amazing music, and amazing art.
I love it.
You've got to come, man.
That's our next collaboration. Me coming to Bristol.
It's Glastonbury Festival, hands down, is. I don't care what anyone says. And I've not been to every festival in the world, but hands down the best festival in the world. It's unbelievable.
I believe it because listen, I stopped going to Coachella a long time ago. That's what we got in the U.S. and it's over. I'm sorry. Yeah. Sorry, Golden Voice. It's over.
I can't talk too much shit on Coachella because I played it this year, but I love it. I love it for what it is, right? It's the American version of that. But I think the difference with Glastonbury, you can't compare it. It's 25, 30 stages over. You turn up on a Wednesday if you want, and you leave on the Monday morning if you want. It's so big you can not see music because there's so much else going on there. When you look at it from afar, like I grew up with me and my dad going together, and we used to we always got flooded out. The tents always got flooded out, so we just end up sleeping in the car. So you'd walk to the car and then just look out over to the festival from like the top of the hill.
Yeah,
and it's a city, man. It's 250,000 people at one time in one place, and you just in the middle of the countryside in England. It's amazing.
I love it. I recently watched a documentary about it. I think
crazy.
Yeah, it was sick.
Is that the one with when they explain about the Hells Angels?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
That's mad in the 60s.
Crazy. I mean, honestly, I didn't know the history of it. It was super informative. It kind of had a Woodstock-ish vibe in the beginning, and then just kind of transformed over the years. It's cool.
Yeah. Have you ever thought about doing a collab with a biker gang?
Unfortunately, motorcycles is a crazy thing for us. It's like we've had some friends that are lost their lives on motorcycles, unfortunately, and it's always been a touchy thing. But I do respect the culture and the fucking badassness of motorcycles and the gangs and the gear.
The fashion, man, is so sick.
It is, but it's like it's protection as well. Totally. like the leather and the pants and the whole vibe is not only for the aesthetic, but if you fly off your shit, you're not going to get road rash.
Yeah, totally. When you're kind of going through the year by year of releasing clothes, you release a lot. You're putting out a lot of product.
We're putting out a lot of product in limited quantities, I will say.
Yeah.
It's not we're like flooding the market. It's just like everything is a finite quantity, and if you get your hands on it, that's cool. If not, then you missed out, and you have to go to Grailed or eBay or your local reseller to try to find it.
Get it. Yeah, totally. And I love that about the brand, because one day you want to get something, the next day it's sold out. Is that something purposely that you wanted to do?
Yeah, I mean, also it's back to like the waste of the world as well. You don't want to put too much out there, and I think it's like, example now, somebody like Supreme or whatever, like they're making millions of items now, of quantities, and it's just they're at that level, but I don't know if the world needs that, and unfortunately it doesn't sell out like it used to. So I think like keeping stuff a little bit more scarce, a little bit more limited, and being conscious of our environment is important.
Yeah, totally. How far in advance are you guys designing shit, working on stuff, producing it?
It's like a 6 to 9 months out rotation. Footwear takes a little bit longer. In January, we're presenting our fall 25 collection. We have
That's crazy.
I know we have some major announcements going down. I can't tease yet, but it's a collection with one of the most iconic musicians of all time. Amazing. So that'll be on full display in Paris in January.
Send me the dates. I'll try and come.
Yeah. January. Or who knows? Maybe we can figure out a gig or something too. Like
throw a party.
Throw a party. We've one of our first parties and one of our best parties was at a local sex club. Sick. and kind of like a free spot where people can go explore. There wasn't necessarily sex going on, but there was some glory holes in the basement and people drinking pee and stuff like that. But it was cool. It was an experience, and we had our friends from China and Hong Kong, Yeti crew, DJ, and it was sick. It was so much fun.
I think I've seen some videos or some pictures from you out there doing that. It looked dope.
Yeah, it was awesome.
What's your thoughts on bricks and mortar places? Would you ever want one?
We've had extended pop-ups. We just had a 4-month pop-up in LA that was super successful. You just got to put the love and the energy and the programming and the marketing into it. I think like a brand like maybe like Palace does a good job at it because they work with different operators, and you feed the machine and you kind of let other people run with the aesthetic, right?
Yeah.
And I think if we have that opportunity, we would go for it. We like working with cool retailers who represent our brand and take amazing photos and market our brand and represent it in the way that we want. We have like occasionally we will do projects with retailers for like support just because they're awesome. Like we're working with Foot Shop in Prague.
Yeah.
They're one of the leading fashion doors in Prague, and we have a collaboration coming out with them. We're really excited about, just like, again, support your supporters, and you want to work with people who are doing good business, representing your vision in the right way.
Yeah. Makes sense, man. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, dude, thank you so much for coming on. I'm looking forward to, are you in town when the tour's in LA on the 22nd?
Yes, I am. I actually, I'm going away with my family to Tokyo the following week, but we made sure that we were in town on the 22nd, and we're going to bring the whole staff out and rock out. To me, the Fonda is one of the better venues in LA.
It's crazy. I've never been there. But obviously I know the history, and it's scary that it's the first show on the tour. I don't know why we booked the Fonda for the first time. First show, yeah. It's gonna be crazy.
Funny enough, I actually played the Fonda, and
oh really?
Yes. I opened up for Uncle James Lavelle last year.
No way.
Yes, and I did. I was his opener in Outernet in London, and then here at the Fonda, and it was kind of nerve wracking. There was about 1,000 people up in there, but I was just playing some OG dub and reggae and some different type of remixes and just kind of warmed up for James, and it was an unbelievable experience. You're gonna absolutely crush it. The sound is good, the vibe is nice. It's an open floor plan. There's seating upstairs if you want to sit. It's great.
Is DJing something that you like do on a regular?
It's something occasionally. I am not like a club type guy. I am my friend's art show or something that Pleasures is doing. I like to set a vibe. I like to have people dance. LA, it's kind of hard to get people to dance sometimes, but it's getting looser these days. People like to stand around and look at each other. But I think that, curating a vibe and playing friends' music and stuff like that is something I enjoy.
We should do it back to back in like a day pop up at some point. And just play
after all these years, I need to get a little bit better, but maybe I can learn from you.
No, we should do just playing hip hop, reggae. My background from when I was very young, I used to play in Ibiza, which everyone thinks is just constantly rave, but I was playing in the day a lot of the time. So you're playing hip hop, reggae, chill out, electronica, just proper jams. So that'd be dope. We should do it.
That would be dope. And let's keep the conversation going about Paris. I think it could be something fun, and it's a cool moment for sure.
Yeah, for sure, man. For sure. Dude, thank you so much. How can people follow the brand? How can people follow you? How can people get involved?
Pleasures on Instagram, straight up the way it sounds. Pleasuresnow.com is our web store. And my personal IG is AJames, AYE James. Look it up, and I will see you on the 22nd.
22nd, man. Big love. Thank you so much. Keep safe.
Right.
See you soon.
Peace, everyone. Thank you.
And that is a wrap. Big love to Alex for coming on. Really enjoyed that. Thanks for listening. Keep safe, people. Till next time.